Welcome to Agranak Studios. I'm DM Wisdom.
And I'm DM Zoth.
And today, we're going to be looking at our very first offering on Drive-Thru RPG called the 5th Edition Witch Class.
Yeah, we're hoping that you like what we put together. The product is 17 pages long, including the cover and the rear cover.
Here's a creepy-looking witch sort of person that has, like, branches and shit coming off. Wanted to go really streamlined and straight, kind of with, like, an old-school Renaissance gaming thing. But, so we went with an A5 size, digest size for this.
Eventually, we'll do a print version of this, or print on demand.
I think some of the kinks might need to be worked out of it beforehand, but as we move forward with playtesting, we're not a huge company or anything. It's really just me and Zoth.
Yeah, just us two. Fucking weirdos. Putting out RPG shit.
The interior here, I've got like this parchment type purple background, and a lot of this green, almost sickly green, olive green even. I don't know, maybe that's not an olive.
Yeah, it's just a weird shade of green.
Written by myself, had some great editors that didn't want to be credited. Awesome illustration. The cover here is by T.J. Barnwell, and actually I got that on Shutterstock.
Keeping it real.
We got some great illustrations from all these wonderful people here, including some Creative Commons or public domain images.
Yeah, we were trying to go with as much of an aesthetic as possible, with the look and feel that was witchy in flavor.
I'll go ahead and read this. Why a witch class? Ever since I began playing AD&D back in the 1980s, I've always wondered why there was not a witch class in the standard rulebook. The second edition of AD&D had a, quote, witch kit in the Complete Wizard's Handbook, and it was a good kit. However, I always thought that such an iconic figure like the witch should be a core class and not a variation of the wizard class.
And I agree.
Of course you would. Historically and fictionally, both the wizard and the witch seem to be two different ways of approaching magic and spellcasting. Hence, my reasoning for embarking on this document. A druid, sorcerer, or warlock could technically work too, but damn it, a witch must have their own class in my humble opinion. There are others who have come up with the homebrew witch classes, so why not use one of those? Frankly, I have outright stolen ideas from many of those homebrew iterations. This is my stitching together of the best of what I liked, as well as adding my own bits and baubles. Here's the main progression chart.
Yeah, the witch looks very much, it's obviously a full caster.
Yes, it is, full caster, along with these little flavor things called hexes that you gain as you level up, starting at second level and periodically throughout the progression.
That's a cool picture. Kind of gives a really dark vibe inside of a forest, witch standing outside of a hut.
To start off, what the meat of this class is, I wrote this up. A woman hums a sweet tune that soon shapes into words. The declaration spills out in poetic form as she repeats the phrase over and over. She takes hold of a ritual dagger and slices her fair palm. Blood trickles down the valleys of her hand and then drips into a cauldron made of iron that rolls and bubbles with intent. Suddenly, a spirit springs forth from the marrying of blood and ill-gotten ingredients. Her eyes flash as the apparition asks, "What is thy bidding, my mistress?" So we have kind of this animistic knowing thing going on, that witches, at least in this homebrew iteration, kind of understand or have this thought process that all things have a spirit attached to them. As it says here, all things, animals, plants, rocks, rivers, weather systems, human handiwork, and even words are manifest and alive. Kind of like the Force, but I think it goes deeper than that, where absolutely everything has a spirit attached to it.
And then the witch casts her spells by grabbing these spirits to do her bidding.
Yep. So with our quick build, first we have Charisma should be your highest ability score, because the witch is using her personality and her intensity in order to make the spirits do what she wants, to command the spirits.
Well, you keep saying she. What if you want to play a dude or something?
Well, you can play a guy as well, but I made this female-centric, though obviously there's people that can use the witch class with a male character, not a problem, but a female sort of thing is baked into this document.
Won't some people get pissed at that?
Absolutely, but frankly, I really don't give a fuck.
Nice, alright.
Second is followed by the Constitution, mostly because she's using a lot of her essence, part of her body, that helps to command these spirits, and so I thought they went hand in hand. Plus, it gives you, hopefully, a little bit more of a boon to your hit points.
What else we got? Hit dice, 1d6, so that's more than a wizard, but less than a druid.
Yeah, the druid has D8. This has a D6, kind of splitting difference there. I created a witch's pack, which is one of the equipment options that you can get, either a witch's pack or scholar's pack. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, let me do the reading here. Witch's pack, 30 gold pieces, includes a backpack, a spell book or book of shadows, a blanket, bottle of ink, a writing quill, a small portable cauldron, 5 candles, a tinderbox, 2 blocks of incense, 3 empty vials to collect fucking nasty shit, and a water skin.
That'll do it. Next page here talks about the bloodline and that witches are part of a bloodline, kind of giving that idea that a witch is kind of born into what she is, that it's part of her bloodline, whether you see that as a curse or a blessing.
Then you get Find Familiar. At first level, you gain the Find Familiar spell. You always have the Find Familiar spell prepared, and it does not count against the number of spells you can prepare each day.
Getting into the different things. So we have like, in other classes, you have your paths, you have your colleges and stuff like that. We have covens within the witch class. And there are 3 initial covens that we have gone over. And it's the Coven of the Moon, Coven of the Primordial, and the Coven of Shadow.
Well, wait a second. Isn't that kind of like the Circle of the Moon, like a druid?
Well, yeah, in my personal world, I think druids kind of have a place, but the way that D&D has druids, they're actually more akin to a witch anyways. And like even what I said in my foreword, you can use a druid as a witch really just fine. But within this document, you might see some things that are more flavored towards what a traditional fairy tale witch might have at her disposal. So the Coven of the Moon has a different take on things, as well as the Coven of the Primordial and the Coven of Shadows.
And you gain hexes at different levels, starting at 2nd level, then at 6th, 10th, 14th, and 18th. Basically, different boons or powers that you get as you level up.
Something that everybody gets, starting at 2nd level, is a thing called Witch's Whimsy. And you can see with this picture from Arthur Rackham of these ladies flying around in the night, and it has to do with that. So you acquire different degrees of whimsy, gaining weightless travel, becoming at will, light as a feather, defying gravity, as the spirit of the air sweeps you off your feet, The following spells listed do not count against your total number of spells you can prepare each day. At second level, as a bonus action, you can cast Featherfall on yourself only. At fourth level, Levitate only on yourself. And at eighth level, you can cast Fly on yourself only. And if you have a broom, cauldron, or mortar that you fly around in, kind of like Baba Yaga, you can increase your flight speed by 20 feet. So even though you might have access to these spells, this just gives you a little bit more flavor for your witch, especially if you've got a broom or one of these other implements, to give you 20 more feet of flying speed.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, well, it's a witch, and it's kind of her mode of transportation. Ability improvement, that's standard fare. At 14th level, you get a witch's hut. You can spend 6 days magically crafting a domicile that you can move from place to place. The exterior could be the hut atop giant chicken legs, an ode to Baba Yaga, a cottage, a covered wagon, or any erection up to huge size.
An erection? Why? An erection up to huge size. Were you trying to be funny there?
Yes and no, but anyways, that's what I wrote, and that's how it's staying. So here's our Witches' Covens. The Coven of the Moon is kind of a healing-centric coven that you can pick at second level. One of the main hexes that you can get, and you must take a hex in order to belong to a specific coven. So there are 3 hexes per coven, kind of pushing you towards a specific hex to get, but obviously you can pick and choose what you want. But here, I'll talk about the Coven Hex, the Awful Balm of Healing. Take a piece of recently killed humanoid body part, such as a heart, liver, brain, or entrails, to be used for ritual healing. The ritual takes 1 minute to complete. The harvested piece can be used as the witch sees fit. For example, it could be given to the target to eat raw, smeared on the target, or stabbed with the ritual blade by the target.
All right, so you're giving the witch the ability to choose how it's actually implemented.
Yeah. So, for instance, if you use a liver, any fear-based effects set on the target will end.
Nice.
So, yeah. And that has potential to be expanded into different body parts and whatnot. Coven of the Primordial. Now, my idea behind this was, and actually I built this around the class that my wife uses in our campaign, and she wanted to play a witch, and so I started with this, and it's more of like that druidic, earthy, almost hippie type, maybe like a Verva from Norse spirituality. One of the things that they can have access to is this Coven Hex, the animal totem. And basically, as a bonus action, you can don either a skull animal mask, hold a charm made from the bones of an animal, or hold the entrails of an animal in your hand. There are 4 different animals. Let's just take one. If you have a goat, then you can have advantage on your strength and dexterity checks. The powers last for a number of rounds equal to the witch's current level. The witch must finish a long rest before the power of the animal spirit can be used again. And there's different ones for different animals. There's a goat, a horse, a boar, and an elk. And it says here, the animal must be killed by the witch as well. The charm must be crafted by the witch. Only one type of animal can be used at a time. To switch the power to another charm, the witch must perform a small ritual over a consecutive 6 days. So it's not like you could just switch quickly from goat to horse. You have to take some time, and that goes into that whole like brewing things up or doing ritual sort of spells.
Yeah, really dig that. What are these other? The horse gives you speed increase to 50 feet. The boar plus 10 temporary hit points. That's awesome. And then that goes up at different level increments. And then the elk, whenever the witch attacks with a melee ranged attack, or with a spell that causes damage, an elk charges the target in spirit form, and it does different damage, and then that increases at different levels.
This picture right here from Luis Ricardo Falero has to do with this skyclad thing a little bit. Starting at second level, after you spend 1 hour communing in nature while nude, that is, moonbathing, sunbathing, water bathing, mud bathing, or any other similar activity, you will gain +2 bonus to your AC and +5 temporary hit points for up to 1 hour. It's kind of like you're gaining the power of the moon inside of yourself. You can activate this anytime within 24 hours as a bonus action. You must finish a long rest before using this hex again, and depending on the level that you're at, this will increase all the way up. At 16th level, your AC is +6 with +23 hit points.
Very nice.
Coven of Shadows, kind of like a necromantic, if you want to go that evil way, especially with, like for instance, here's a hex, Grave Companions. After drawing a picture of a dead familiar on the ground, a piece of wood, or in ash and soot, you can call upon that creature to help you. This resurrects them from the realm of the dead to help you in time of need. First, you will need to cast Find Familiar, then care for the familiar for at least 6 days, feeding and tending to it. After killing it, use a feather, bone, or awful matter to resurrect the undead creature to help you. Only one animal type can be used at a time until it is destroyed.
That's pretty morbid.
Yeah, it is pretty morbid.
And you got all that blood there splattered all over the place, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So, for instance, with a raven, you raise an undead raven that can call upon other flying fowl in the area that will swoop upon a single target. The distraction will cause any spellcaster to roll with disadvantage on any concentration check. If the caster is concentrating on a spell, the presence of the raven will trigger a concentration check every round the raven is still animated. And lots of other things. A bat, you can raise a bat, a cat, and a rat. And obviously there can be other things, but this is what I've initially come up with, so yeah, feel free to expand.
Alright, and you have other hexes here.
Yep, other hexes, and taken kind of from a few other places, like even Pathfinder. The cackle, even though the cackle I think it lengthens the duration of certain spells. What I did here is you can cackle as a move action. Any creature within a 30-foot radius must make a wisdom savings throw or be frightened. The target can attempt another save at the end of its turn. You must then finish a long rest before you can use this hex again.
Alright, cool. So it's kind of just a different take, and using classic tropes of a witch like the cackle to have something that's a hex.
Yeah. And the evil eye, and this gives disadvantage. Familiar sense, you can sense what your familiar sees. So if you have a bird or something and they fly off, you can see through its eyes and sense what it is sensing. And you can turn a witch's hat into a hat blade that leaps off your head and flies and cuts a target for different degrees of damage depending on your level.
And you also have the Spirit of the Cauldron.
Yeah, and this helps with brewing potions. You have spent enough time with your cauldron that it has become a living entity. This living entity can now help you craft potions. You can create 2 potions for the same amount of time, or same time and cost as just 1. At 10th level, this goes up to 3 potions, and crafting these potions takes half the stated time.
So that's cool. Gives more utility to the whole potion brewing thing. For rules as written for D&D 5e.
More pictures to kind of add ambience, and this is the witch's spell list that you can grab from. That also includes spells from a certain Beholder's Guide to Everything and also a certain Witch's Cauldron of Everything. So take some spells from those two books. So this is the 5th edition Witch class from Agranak Studios.
You can get that at Drive-Thru RPG, and you can get it actually for free if you want. But we have a suggested $3 for the product, but you can put in $0 and get it for free.
Yeah, go ahead and pick that up. The link is in the description. And have an awesome Halloween. Take care, everybody.
Later. All right, do this and do that and do this and do that. And watch this video.